Hey everybody, I wanted to come outside and talk to you out here today. It's a beautiful day, a little hot, but we'll get it done. So as I go through the decluttering and clearing out process, something that is difficult for me sometimes is to figure out whether or not this is an item that I should keep or an item I should get rid of. Even if I'm not using the item, I can overthink it. So here are the questions that I've been asking myself when I find it hard to part with an item. Big shout out to the Minimalist Mom and the Minimalists for inspiring these questions. Remember, these rules are for things that you're not using currently, because if you're using something, then you should keep it. This is about things that you're not currently using, but you're not sure whether you can let it go or whether you should keep it. So the first rule or question is called the 20/20 rule. And what this essentially means is, how easily can I replace this item if I ended up getting rid of it, but then needing it? So if I can find it in under 20 minutes and it's under $20, let it go. And if you do end up rebuying it, well, that tells you something. It tells you, yeah, this is an item that I actually need. The next rule is the 1 year rule. This rule says that if you haven't used something in a year, you probably should let it go. And the important thing with the 1 year rule is to be realistic about whether or not you're going to use something. Not to tell yourself, well, I could use it for this, or I've been thinking about using it for that, or I've really been meaning to make time for X, or even, I used to use it all the time. Years ago, I used to sew. I have 2 sewing machines. I have tons of fabric. I have a lot of sewing notions. And I'm holding on to it because I keep telling myself, well, I might do it again. But it's been legitimately several years since I've sewn. And I'm now struggling with that question of, do I let these things go? The 1 year rule is the rule that's helping me through that process. If my goal is to have less things and to clear my space, then it's important to make these tough decisions and really only keep items that I'm using in this season of my life. Not who I used to be, not who I want to be in the future, but who I am right now. So the next rule is the spontaneous combustion rule. So what this rule is basically asking yourself, hey, if this item were to blow up and be destroyed right now, would I repurchase it? So this works well for me for things that are really impulse buys. I didn't put a lot of thought into the purchase. Maybe Instagram sold me something. Maybe I was out and you know that feeling, you're like, oh, this is cute, or I could use this, and you just kind of throw it in the bag, and you come home and now you've got this thing that you never use. I really did this a lot with like beauty products, hair products, skin products, stuff like that, bath and body products. I used to have a lot of those items. This rule is really good for those types of impulse buys, where if it exploded right now, would you go out and say, I gotta get that? We didn't put a lot of thought into the purchase itself, and now it's here in our house taking up physical and mental space. And if we wouldn't care if it was destroyed, let it go. The last rule is asking yourself, am I keeping this out of guilt? Like, I spent good money on it, but I'm not using it, but I should keep it because I spent money on it. Or someone gave this to me as a gift, so I should keep it. But we don't want to hold on to things out of guilt. Right? Every time we look at this item, it kind of makes us feel bad because we really don't want it, but we feel forced to keep it. We don't want our items to make us feel bad. I don't want my items to make me feel bad. It's like Marie Kondo, she says the things that we keep should either serve a purpose or spark joy. And if this item is doing the opposite of sparking joy, then maybe we need to let it go. The Minimal Mom talked about this in one of her videos, and she said that the joy of gifting is in the giving and receiving, not necessarily in the gift itself. Now, the person who gave you the gift, I'm sure they don't want it to be a burden, right? So if we're not using the item and it's become a burden for us, let's allow ourselves to let it go. Let someone else use it, donate it. Let someone else who can actually get use out of it, get use out of it. Let that item live on somewhere else. So those are the questions that I've been asking when I'm stuck on whether or not to keep an item or let it go. I hope they're helpful for you. They've been really helpful for me as I continue on this minimalist journey. Creating this life of living with less, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but every good thing takes time. So let's be easy with ourselves as we're going through this. We'll get better at letting go as we practice letting things go. Minimalism is a journey, it's not a destination, so we'll be at this for a while. So until my next video, be well.